Hi guys, welcome back to the Astro Imaging channel. Tonight's session is going to be presented by Tolga. It's on using and setting up an OTA mounted PC, and I saw him start on this. And it's a really cool thing that I don't know, seems like a lot of us would want to be using. We all struggle with our laptops, and it'd be nice to have it just mounted up there. And we all, well, I don't know if we all do this, but a lot of us use our cell phones or our desktops from inside and don't even bother going out to the telescope unless something goes wrong. So it's a great way to do that and not have to worry about that extra PC. And on the other hand, they're a bit of a bargain these days. But first of all, I do want to jump over, and I actually didn't pull this up, so just bear with me for 1 second. This week's image of the week goes to Adam Landefeld. And there you go. Hopefully, hold on, I have to pull it back. Yep, there you go. And this is his M101. And congrats, Adam. If you do want to come on next week, just drop me a message, and I'll get you a link to this Hangout so you can jump right in. But it's a beautiful M101, and hopefully next week we'll hear more about it from you. The other, let me think, what else? I don't know. I was rushing today. I was trying to test out my RC about 15 minutes ago, and I only had 5 minutes to do it, so I started working on it. But it looks like tonight's session is going to be really popular. So I don't know. I'm not going to do any more talking. I'm actually going to hand it right over to Tolga right now. And Tolga, you can take it right away.
Okay, guys. So thanks, Adam. And by the way, other Adam, congratulations on the image of the day. That was great. Image of the week. So how do I start? So I'll just go with the presentation.
Whichever way you want.
Okay. Is this visible?
Not yet. Oh, you know, I should remind everybody out there, because this is going to be a popular session. I can see it already. Q&A is active. I think you guys know how to get into Q&A. If you want to ask questions, top right of your screen, hover over it, click Q&A, type in your questions, and I will call them right out to Tolga. But, okay, sorry for the interruption, Tolga. Go right ahead.
No problem. Is it working right now?
It's working.
Okay, great. So I'm Tolga. Most people, don't. My last name is Gumusayak. So I was born in Turkey, but I've been in this country for the last, before dirt, so since for the last 25 years. So first, let me give you a little background. So I started astronomy a couple of years ago. In fact, this March has been 2 years. I was watching Cosmos on TV, and I said, wow, this is really interesting. So I decided, I want to learn about astronomy. Bought a telescope, started looking, and saw, there's really nothing to see visually in New Jersey. So I figured, the camera may be more sensitive, so I started astrophotography pretty much right after. Struggle for a long time, how hard it is to do astrophotography. And so, the regular deal, you have a laptop, you connect to your camera, and, you connect to your mount. You got, my basic idea was to get rid of cables. It was just driving me crazy. And I broke a camera, stepped on a cable, yanked the mini USB cable out. I'm sure many of you have done the same thing. So these cables were driving me crazy. So why not just use a laptop? And that's basically why. It's you need to power your laptop in the field if you're running on a battery. You need a second laptop to be able to see it. So that can get expensive. Laptops are really not designed for outdoors. They don't like dew. You go to brights, you go to star parties, you get yelled at from people with, turn your screen off, you're ruining our night vision. And those red screen softwares, and they really, when you go to a really dark place, doesn't matter what you do, that screen is bright. So I had to come up with a different reason, a different way to do this. So, and people do that. What they do is they use this remote USB hubs, and what it does is it converts USB to a LAN connection, and then there's a second part of it, and that plugs into your TV and basically converts USB devices to a remote. This works great, but my plan was to eliminate cabling. So I didn't want to do this neither. I just wanted no cables. so what's good about this system? So this little PC that I have is 12 volts. So basically, if you run it on batteries, everything runs on 12 volts. Another big advantage, I think, is that your main imaging camera plugs straight to the PC without an extension, without a USB hub. I think that's an advantage. That's just my philosophy. Even when I did use a laptop, I actually used the hub, plugged everything else in it, but I actually brought my main cameras and straight into the computer. That's what I did all the time. So in my system, because I use a Paramount, Paramounts have this factory through-the-mount cabling and also available Wi-Fi adapters. There's actually no cables, zero cables going up to the PC that's on top of the system. So once I log into my system with either another laptop or a laptop or through my phone or an iPad, I'll start the CCD Autopilot or Sequence Generator Pro, whatever automation software you need, and basically get it going and turn it off. This way, if I'm in a dark site with running on batteries, I don't have to worry about my laptop power. Everything runs on that same 12 volt. And optionally, this little PC that I'm going to be showing has 4 USB ports. So if that's enough for you, you don't need a hub at all. In my case, there is a hub, but optionally, you don't need to have one at all. So this is the one that I picked. This is Adam. By the way, should we ask? Let me see if there's any questions so far.
There haven't been any questions yet.
Okay, so this is the one I picked at the end, and it has a USB 3 and 3 additional USB ports, and the most importantly, it has a COM port. It has a serial port. That was important for me because that eliminated the one USB to serial to USB adapter that I needed. I use a RoboFocus controller, which you need to convert it to USB. That eliminated that. So at this point, I have no USB to serial to USB converters. And this little guy also is fanless, so the whole body is aluminum. It's basically a heat sink. It uses very little power. It has Wi-Fi. It has Bluetooth. It has plenty of power. In fact, I run SkyX, CCD Autopilot, CCD Inspector, Pix Insight, MaximDL, PhD, and I can run all these concurrently at the same time, and it will still run. It has plenty of power to run everything. That's why I really like this. And I actually tried one of those little stick, what they call them, stick PCs, where they're these tiny little devices. To me, they don't have enough power. They seem to have limitations. I can't do everything I do. This is just like a complete PC on your system. There is no limitations with this. So I'll show Adam. Any questions?
Yeah, actually, Alex was wondering what your little PC there cost.
It's $242 right now on eBay. I just looked it up. In fact, that's where I downloaded the picture from. And that comes with a hard drive, the hard drive memory, and it's a solid state hard drive, by the way. Comes with Windows 10 home version. It's not the Pro. For those of you who like to use the Windows remote desktop, you need the Pro version of the Windows 10. Another great thing, I'm going to be talking about another thing. So this PC, I run a software that's called Connectify, which creates its own Wi-Fi hotspot in that PC. And I don't know if you guys could see in this picture clearly, but the PC has 2 built-in antennas, which is a great thing because a lot of these little PCs do not have a lot of range in their Wi-Fis. But this little guy does. So that's the reason why I picked this. So this is my system. This is what I use right now. Adam, can you see my mouse?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is a little external hard drive, which is optional. You don't need. This is the PC. This is my RoboFocus controller. I'm going to get to this in a little bit. You know, mount everything. You know, your focuser, auto guider, camera, and let me talk about this guy right here. This is called KMT-Tronic. What it is a USB-controlled relay controller. It has 8 built-in relays. So in my case, what happens is there's 12 volt comes up from the bottom. In my case, like I said, Paramounts have a special thing which is a factory through the mount cabling, which means that you plug 12 volt here and 12 volt comes out here. So there's no cables dangling around even through the mount or around the mount. There's just no cables at all. 12 volt comes up here. 2 separate sources of 12 volts comes up. One powers the relay board and the computer, and the other one gets split between these relays, and the PC is set in the BIOS to come on automatically. So when I restore power to the thing, it boots up and it starts broadcasting my Wi-Fi network. I log on to it with another device, either my phone or an iPad or anything else. I launch the application for this KM-Tronic. Currently, I'm using 4 of these 8 relays. I'll click them on one at a time. One does the camera, the other one does the USB hub, powers the USB hub. The other one does the fans for the RC, and the 4th one does the focus control. So I'm using 4 of them right now. So I can turn all those devices on and off individually. We'll show some different views of the same thing. So I don't know if you guys see. So here's this direct serial port. RoboFocus is the only thing that needs serial to USB adapter, and I eliminated that. The PC port goes from here straight into the true serial port that's built into this little PC. Oh, by the way, I didn't give the model. It's called QOTOM. It's QOTOM, as in Mary. And the only downfall is you have to order them. Nobody in the United States seems to sell them. That's the only downfall. Adam, are there any questions so far?
Yes, actually, Alex asked a couple more.
Okay.
Does it take an SD card or any sort of portable memory media?
I guess you could stick a USB memory card in it, but no, it does not have an SD card slot.
Okay, and I guess that's actually I'm going to ask one question. I hope I don't throw you down
Okay.
off the other side. You said you used one of those little stick PCs. When was that? Because I think Intel released a generation 2 of them, and I'm curious if anybody's having luck with those things yet. Eventually, I'm sure we'll all be using them, but
I'm sure eventually they're going to come with more powerful ones. But I got uh, the the original one, I guess, the Generation 1. And there are, first of all, there is a 32-bit processor, so it does not run 64-bit Windows.
mm,
So a lot of software is limited right now. You have to find 32-bit drivers for things, and it has a fixed amount of memory. It's not upgradable. The hard drive, I guess the solid state hard drive in it is not upgradable. They're all actually it's not. It doesn't have a hard drive. It just has memory.
right.
And the most of that memory is taken by the window itself. I think it has 20 gigabytes, no, 30 gigabyte drive, and 18 of it is taken by Windows.
Tolga, let me clarify something. You are talking about that stick PC, not the one that you're actually using now.
Yeah, I took them. I took them off topic. I asked about the stick.
You're absolutely right. Now we're talking about the Intel stick, Compute stick.
Yep.
Compute stick.
Tolga, do you need internet connectivity during your use?
No, in fact, this PC is not connected to the internet. It broadcasts a Wi-Fi hotspot, and I connect to it with another device. It doesn't. It is not connected to the internet. It's never connected to the internet, and I prefer it that way. I could have done it both, but I decided because to be able to save memory and processor power, I did not want to run an antivirus software on it, and that's why it is never connected to the internet. If I need to download something to it, I actually transfer something through another PC.
So you probably couldn't use TeamViewer, but there'd be a lot of other intranet remote desktops that I think you could use.
I use actually, let me just go right to it. I actually use Windows Remote Desktop, and here it is. We're actually looking at that PC right now. Here's the desktop. Here is that relay board, the control for the relay board. You could turn on each relay separately, like right now I could turn on the focuser. And after I launch this, and as you can see, you can run Maxim, PhD, Deep Sky Stacker. I have PixInsight in there. It runs. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
so because I'm not sure, because I'm sharing a screen of another computer right now, so I didn't know if it was going to work.
Yep. And I'm going to ask one more kind of other question. How about screen resolution? Can you change screen resolutions? Is it limited in the screen resolutions it can display? Or I guess
I'm not going to be able to answer that.
That's probably enough.
I'm not going to be able to answer that.
No?
I don't know it.
What happens? Okay, right-click right there. Display settings. Oh, maybe it's graphics properties. I'm not sure. Click display settings. Oh, I don't know Windows. Is that Windows 10? I don't know Windows 10.
You can't change it because there's
session.
no screen on that PC. It doesn't.
That's kind of what I was wondering. When I do it with my laptop, yeah, I'm limited to the resolution that the laptop is displaying. But
Right.
since I don't have a screen, I didn't know if you were limited or unlimited.
Like if I log into it with my Android phone, it completely changes the resolution. It matches the screen of the device that you're logging from.
Okay, that answers it. And
So
Josh is commenting you can use TeamViewer over LAN. I guess I just never figured that out.
Yeah, I think there's a way to use TeamViewer over LAN, local LAN.
Mm-hmm.
And Tolga, couldn't you just plug a keyboard in and a display monitor and do all your setting up that you want to very conveniently as if it were a regular desktop computer? And can't you do that?
Yes, you can. In fact, initially you have to. Initially, you have to do it that way because when you first get the PC, it's not set up. It doesn't have any software in it. So initially you do have to. First of all, in my case, I have to go into the BIOS and change it to always on, so that when I turn the power on, it boots up right away. So initially, you
You
do
do
have.
that. Originally, you just plug a keyboard, plug a monitor in, and you take care of it, get it all ready to go, and then you unplug all that stuff, put it up on top of your telescope, and go away.
Exactly. There's a HDMI output, there's a VGA output, and also a USB keyboard and a mouse. You just plug them right in.
Okay, great, thanks.
Mm-hmm. So we went on a tangent, but I forget kind of where I was. So I was talking about that relay board, this Camtronic. By the way, I highly recommend this. They're also available on eBay. The company is in Bulgaria, but they deliver within a week. Also, they're available IP, USB, serial, any configuration, and they're pretty affordable. They're only about $50, $60.
Tolga, I'm sorry. Would you repeat the manufacturer of that?
It's right on the screen. It's called Camtronic.
No, the actual computer. Oh, I'm sorry. The relay box. No, that's KMtronic.
Yes.
That's your answer. KMtronic.
The computer is Kotom. It's QOTOM as in Mary.
Gotcha.
So we already saw this one. So here's a view of the back. Again, the 12 volt comes up. It's jumped through the common of each relay. Then there's a normally open and a normally closed side of each relay. And each 12 volt device, well, this is a little bit of do-it-yourself project. Of course, it's not a plug and play. You don't get the plug cables in. You need to strip cables and kind of, you need to be able to do a little bit of electric work to be able to do this. But this is not necessary for the PC part. It's just the additional convenience. And the reason why I did this is because, as you guys know, USB devices act up, and I don't like getting up 2 o'clock in the morning and walking over there and unplugging and plugging. And this device just lets me recycle the power of anything I want remotely. Here's the back of the mount. 12 volts. Plugs into the bottom of the mount, goes up the mount, comes up. Comes up at the, comes up, oh, I don't have a picture of it. Right below, comes here, powers this and the PC. And this is my power supply. So I use a, not a conventional power supply. It's a adjustable voltage power supply, which was taken off of a server. It used to be inside of a big server piece computer. So I got it. It's for free basically. The cool thing about it is that it's adjustable voltage and it is regulated voltage, meaning that if something starts drawing a lot of power and voltage starts dropping, it will actually boost it up. And we'll always keep actual 12 volts regardless of the draw on it. So that's why I really liked it. It has a built-in fan, and if you guys find these used, I highly recommend these. Oh, actually, that's basically it. That's basically my presentation. I mean, I figured there'll be questions, and I'll answer questions after this, or I can demonstrate some of the features that's right on the remote desktop.
Tolga, am I allowed to mention your association with BISC?
Sure. What I do is I provide after-hour customer support, tech support for people who buy BISC mounts mentioning my name. So if you let me know that if you want to buy a BISC mount, I do the arrangements. You still, you buy your mount, and then I do after-hours tech support for the first few months.
With the power going through the mount and coming out the Versa plate, this really seems like an awesome solution if you do have a BISC mount. It's the one thing as an AP mount user I'm a little jealous of, is that Versa plate.
Right, Adam. That's the thing. There is zero cables going up to zero.
Yeah.
So the PC talks to the mount. Oh, actually, I should have mentioned that too. Oh, I'm in the wrong computer. So I got confused. I got too many computers over here. There's a Wi-Fi board. There's an optional Wi-Fi board that's on the mount. So the PC talks to the mount through Wi-Fi. The 12 volt goes up through the mount through factory through the mount cabling. I talk to the PC through Wi-Fi. So there's zero wires going up to the mount. So that's what was my goal. I said, because I broke an expensive camera, I stepped on it, and it just drove me insane. I said, you know what? I'm not going to have any cables.
Yeah,
So,
the ability, I don't know, well, a lot of us who use CCDs have had that issue. Actually, not just CCDs for me, with focusers and a few things where you hook it up to a hub and it doesn't work. You plug it in directly and it does work. So you unplug it, you hook it into the hub, and it doesn't work. You hook it in a specific order, and eventually you get it working. But for some reason, hubs are just, I don't know, a lot less reliable than you would hope for. So to be able to directly plug everything right into that PC really seems like an awesome benefit.
right, and yeah, exactly. I mean, in my case, I do have a hub, but as you saw with that relay board, I do get to switch. I get to recycle that hub if there's something goes wrong. It requires the hub runs on 12 volts.
Mm-hmm.
So I search for a USB hub that runs on 12 volts specifically, and so what I do is I basically recycle the power to it if something goes wrong. Like I'll actually show you here. Here's USB hub right here. I'll just turn the power off. In fact, watch what will happen. So here's SkyX connected to the mount. It says tracking off. It's connected. And I'll turn the power off.
Mm-hmm.
So it just lost connection. And I'll turn it back on. There you go. So, oh, in case, here's my mount. It sits just like that. And this is actually a live shot of the mount. Actually, I could. I'm just like demonstrating real fast what it does, how it works. So right now we're connected through Wi-Fi. You just select a object, and I could just go close loop slew to it, and there you go. I mean, it's cloudy right now, so it's probably not going to work. But so this is actually, I just clicked the slew, and you're actually watching it live working.
One question from the Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
How many amps can you put through the 12-volt line on the mount?
So there are two separate. There is one cable, but there's four wires basically going through it. So there are two circuits. One is rated for 3. One is rated for 2. So total of 5 amps. So, and it's a lot more than what I use.
And
maybe if you have a dew heater, it may be an issue.
Have you ever figured out how many, what the PC itself draws?
No, I didn't look at it.
Because that's another one of the benefits is laptops draw a lot of power.
It's a lot less than I think it's like 50 watts.
Mm-hmm.
No, it can't be. No, it's not 50 watts. It's very little. It's because I tried to run the system with battery. I don't know. Do you want me to go into that whole battery system? So, okay, Paramounts do run on 48 volts. So I had to do some use some different kind of batteries to make it to be able to use it on the field. So I chose to go with this EGO battery system from Home Depot. They're actually used for battery lawnmowers and battery leaf blowers and things like that. And they're at 56 volts. Software BISC says that we're allowed to use up to 60 volts with a Paramount. So they recommend using this EGO battery. What I've done is I used a 5 amp hour battery, 2 of them, and I ran the mount with it directly, and I also took the 56 volts and used another device to convert it to 12 volt DC to supply my 12 volt devices out of the same 2 batteries. The batteries were wired in parallel, and it, I didn't get to finish them. They ran all night. So 2 5 amp hour batteries ran this whole system, including the camera, the cooler camera, the mount, the fans and the PC all night, and so I don't even know how much I have left. I didn't get to run it all the way down. Are you guys still there?
Sorry, I was talking to a muted mic. Yeah, that's really cool. And I know now you said that is it the COTOM that isn't available in this country?
Actually, yeah. Let me stop. And let me find that PC.
Because I know there are other manufacturers that make them. I think Gigabyte makes one.
Correct. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
I get emails every day from like Newegg and Tiger Direct about the Gigabyte, and there's a few of them actually. In fact, Intel makes their own brand of one called the Nook. Mm-hmm. So there are lots of options, and I'll tell you with I think basically all of them have, well, if you pay attention to the processors, all of them have the processing power we need. It's when you get into those sticks where you, I think, run into the possible problems with maybe not enough processing power, processing power, maybe not enough power going into the USB if you're trying to run a bunch of stuff off of it. Possibly some the sticks become a little bit more finicky, but I don't know if you're willing to put just a little bit more weight hanging on your computer, you can get pretty good. Oh, Bluetooth as well, correct?
Yes, Bluetooth as well.
So
So
you
actually, you can have a Bluetooth
Yep.
mouse or a keyboard connected to this without USB.
Yeah, and
I never.
they sell Bluetooth keyboards with little the finger mouse things or what track pads. So you could have a nice tight package. And there you go, delivered from
Right.
China.
Yeah. So the reason, again, so let me clarify. Of course, there's Nook, there's the Gigabyte. They're all good. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only one that will work. The reason why I chose this are two reasons. One is the serial port, and is the I know Gigabyte uses a fan to cool the processor. This thing, the whole body is a heatsink,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a little bit less power, and it has a solid-state hard drive. I know Gigabyte uses a regular laptop style 2.5-inch hard drives. So, but that wasn't the reason why. I don't care what kind of hard drive it has. You know, that I don't think it makes a difference in this case. To me, the reason was the COM port on this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, this manufacturer has a model with 4 COM ports on it, but that's the body becomes a little thicker on this, and I didn't want it. And oh, here's another thing about these, and they're all the same way, by the way. This is not a feature of this one. It's all about all these mini designs. Let me stop sharing. So they're designed to be mounted behind a screen, or maybe your flat screen or your monitor. So they come with these little actually brackets to be able to mount them onto a surface, to a wall or something like that. So what I've done is actually mounted that bracket on the Lost Man the dovetail that's on top of the PC, and basically that PC clips right into it. It's actually a very nice system. It never slips. It works great. I've been using it for the help me out, Adam. I can. For the last 8
I
months.
can't remember.
Yeah,
But
I can't remember it either, but I've been using it for a while, and I highly recommend it.
One hidden benefit of it is you can use it to counterweight your OTA if you've got a heavy camera on the back. So you know you have you have 7 pounds hanging off the back, so you're really back heavy. You need to put a counterweight on the front. Well, you might as well use something functional as opposed to just putting.
That's true. In fact, not even thinking about that, I do that because you know how the RCs are. They don't have corrector plates. They're already back heavy, and plus the 12-inch back focus on them makes them. Even though without this, I would have to stick the RC about halfway up the saddle. With this, it sits right in the middle of the saddle.
Yep. That's really cool.
Good point.
Yeah.
And as far as a lot of people question me on this, is saying, you know, what about the extra weight? Again, I don't have a, math. I didn't figure this out on math, but I believe that of benefit of not having in cables, the to be not be able to step on cables in the dark and eliminate that possibility. I think it's worth the extra weight.
Yeah, and the cable drag itself, even if it's running,
itself,
even if it's running through the mount, you're going to have some effect.
Some effect, yeah, and. Yeah, the cable drag, a lot of people don't have through-the-mount cabling, so that cable drag issue, a lot of people tie wrap their wires on their counterweight shafts, so the whole harness is going up and down with the mount, maybe getting hung up on things, or you're trying to focus your camera, you end up stepping on a cable, breaking a connector. I mean, I've done it. I'm sure a lot of people, everybody else done it.
More than once.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you just break the cable.
On the same cable on the same night.
Yeah. Actually, my kids do it to me, and that's when it makes me mad. If I do it to myself, I'm mad at myself, but if my kids do it to me, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can only get so mad at them, but yeah. No dancing in the observatory, I have to tell them. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's funny how quickly technology is changing. I was thinking about this a few years back because I was in a hospital and I saw one of these mounted on the back of a monitor. And I was looking at it and I saw all the stuff that it was really actually capable of, and I thought, wow, that could hang on a mount really easily. And then I kind of thought about those compute sticks, but they just didn't quite seem there enough. Now, do you know offhand what that weighs?
Mine is a little bit heavy because, you don't have to do it my way. I have an extra USB hub, which you don't have to have. I have a external hard drive you don't have to have. I have a second lost Mandy plate. I did a back-to-back lost Mandy plate to be able to take the whole thing off easily, because the whole thing is mounted on a separate plate where I could take the whole electronics off the OTA at once, which none of these things you have to do. These are all additional conveniences that I've done, but without them, the weigh's nothing. It's maybe 2 pounds.
Yeah, not much at all. Samir is asking. I'll get your opinion, then I'll give my opinion. Is this system recommended for scopes that are permanent mounted, or can this also be done with portable mounts without an observatory?
Well, mine is portable.
I think. Yeah, go ahead, Tolga.
No, my system is portable. It's in fact, it is not in an observatory. It sits on a tripod in the back of my house. I cover my telescope with a tarp at the end of the night. I don't take it down and put it up every day. I cover it really nice with flap. So go uncover my mount, home it, and I'm ready to go. In an observatory, would I recommend this for an observatory? See, there are other things in an observatory that needs a PC. I mean, if you have a dome or a roller-off roof that you need to control. So, Adam, what do you think about that? I mean, in an observatory, would I do this in an observatory? I would probably do this and have a second PC to control the observatory.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit less inclined to suggest it for an observatory because of that, controlling your other stuff. Where I see it really being a benefit is you've got a portable setup, you leave the computer on there, you leave the USB hub on there, you leave all of your wires set up, and you pick it up, you unplug the wires from the plate, the power, and you don't have, let me think, you don't have a USB, right? You have wireless. So you unplug only the power from your plate, you grab the scope, you put it in your car, you grab the mount, you put it in your car. It's all hooked up. You don't have to set anything up in the dark when you get out to darker skies.
The only thing I do is I unplug the USBs from the camera and the guider, because I'm afraid that, just carrying the whole thing out, I might just bump into the door and just rip the USB port off of it. So I leave the cables, I just unplug them off the ports. So when I get to my site, I slide the whole OTA with everything attached to it. Camera, it's already at focus. The PC is on there. I slide the OTA on, lock it in place. I have it marked where I know where my balance points are, so I don't have to rebalance. I have my counterweights marked where they go. I have my Lost Mandy plate is marked where it needs to be on my saddle. Slide it on, lock it in, plug the 2 cables back in, and I did a test run. So I have a pickup truck, so a little bit easier. But by the time I got to the site, I think in like 12 minutes, my system is up and running.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool.
You're
Larry's,
talking about a. This is not like a little AVX. You're talking probably 150, 200 pounds of gear.
yep. Yeah, that's a 10-inch. I'm recently familiar with a 10-inch RC, and when I first got it, I was really intimidated by the weight. Well, let me not go into that because I see a question. The question is, have you used a tablet or iPad to connect to the computer? But let me just ask generally, how do you connect to the computer when you're remote?
Like I demonstrated right now, just I could use, like, for instance, the laptop that I'm using to talk to you guys. I actually show the screen of the other one, or I could actually let me. I mean, if you guys want, I'll show you I mean, should we go into it? Should I look, show the iPad? But I don't. But it's the same thing. It looks the same way.
Yeah. Now, you use Windows Remote Desktop. Can you use Windows Remote Desktop from an iPad?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I didn't know that. Larry is mentioning that he has an Intel NUC with an i7, and he controls his entire observatory, his mount, his dome, his cameras, his flip flat, everything, and it works without a hitch. But he doesn't have it mounted on his mount yet. So
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That all in attack. You don't need to bring it down. You can plug it straight up. It will just run by itself on the scope.
Now I'll tell you where that'd be really handy. You build an imagers. We don't really need an observatory as much as a large observatory, as much as we just need something to cover our scope. We don't necessarily have to go in there. So you and I were looking at that observatory at Neath.
Next dome.
Yeah, you put one of those on there, and you put your scope in there. You don't really have to go inside. You control it all from inside. You hook it up. You hook up your dome. You put it in the middle of nowhere, and one of those on there. And, you put your scope in there. I'm sorry, I'm just hearing an echo of myself, and I didn't know who was talking, but it's me. Yeah, but really, really cool. I don't know. I am trying to think. With dome control, you need to have the. I'm assuming USB from the dome motors or the dome controller. But everything else, that's the only USB you'd have to have running to the mount, up through the mount. So you have power coming down, USB going up, and then everything else is sitting on top of the mount, which is still only 2 wires, and I have 4 wires going through my mount right now.
Yeah, I mean, this way the wires will be going. But how about some sort of one of those Bluetooth USB adapters? You could use that. This thing has a Bluetooth. They make Bluetooth to serial adapters. And most of those observant dome controllers are serial anyway, so you just connect. There you go. It can be done.
Yeah.
Wirelessly.
Yep. Yeah, very cool. And yeah, you know what? You're out at a dark star party or something. You don't have that laptop screen. You sneak into your car. You pull up your cell phone. You start your imaging routine. That's one of the things I'm intimidated by when I go to dark skies like Cherry Springs. I'm planning on going to, and the one thing I'm afraid of is opening up my laptop screen and having people upset with me. Well,
that's
into my car, plug into my cell phone, start routine, and then jump away.
That's actually a good thing to be afraid of, because those people are dangerous. They will chase you.
Yeah. I know, it's not like I'm trying to light up a gas well or something.
They will throw eyepieces at you. You have to.
Yeah.
I got so much trouble. You know, I went to the star party at Stokes. You know, there was people with bunch of, you know, dubs on. I was the only imager over there. I opened up my laptop, you know, with the red, even the acrylic screen on it. They're like, no, you can't. So I ended up putting my jacket. I took my jacket off. It was in December. I took my jacket off and put it over my head, covered my laptop, made a little tent for myself, and that was the only way. You know, I was going to get murdered.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's a short presentation, but there's really, you know, not much to say. It's just a PC connection. I mean, it's most of the stuff. It's already everybody's doing it. I'm not doing anything special. It's just the way I'm doing it is different.
Hmm. Yeah, I will mention now. You did a post on Cloudy Nights about this?
Correct. Yeah, when I first, I used to have a Mighty, and it's called it's in the under mounts. It's called Mighty, no laptop, no cables, no laptop, no problems, or something like that.
And there's also, just for the people who feel like they want to experiment, there is a post in the Imagers forum right now about people using the sticks, and some of them are having success, but some of them are running up against a limitation. So you can read a little bit about that if you want to get into the forums, if it seems like something you want to experiment with. The sticks go for like $99 right now. I think the gigabytes start around there. But I'm not sure if that includes a hard drive or an OS or a few of the things you're going to need.
Gigabyte, the $99 one that you're referring to, it doesn't come with a memory, hard drive, or operating system.
Yeah. That.
So, but if you have them sitting around, I mean, who doesn't have extra memory, little 4 gigabyte memory card laying around, so you know.
Yep. And SSDs are ridiculously cheap right now. I was kind of shocked when I walked into Best Buy the other day. And I actually love using an SSD on my acquisition PC because for some reason I always end up having to reboot my PC. USB port fails and you want to reboot it quickly, or you have to install something quickly, you want to reboot it quickly. I don't know, like a minute and a half later you're rebooted and you're ready to go. There's no loading up all those drivers or anything. It's just snap and you're ready.
Right.
So.
Oh, another thing I should mention is Software Bisque is also working on one of these systems that's runs on Raspberry.
Yes.
Raspberry Pi, which is actually going to reduce so if anybody's concerned about weight, that's going to be nothing. It's just, it weighs absolutely nothing.
Yep. I saw it, and you can actually Velcro it to the back of your OTA. So. Right. Yeah.
You could use double-sided tape or something. You know, it's just it's. I'll put it to you this way: it weighs less than your phone,
and uses almost no power. Very, very little power. When I saw Richard Wright at NEAF, he showed me his 2-day battery setup, and my battery weighs 50 pounds, and that's just one of them. I have a 50-pound battery, and then I have like a 30-pound battery pack. He had one of those Ego batteries. And then he had a little lunchbox-sized battery, and that runs him for 2 days with the Raspberry Pi computer. So,
I should mention something else about this Raspberry. You don't have to have a Paramount to be able to use this. You have to have SkyX. You have to own SkyX, but not a Paramount. This will actually. I actually use that Raspberry Pi to operate a Mach 1. It's just, it will run any mount.
Very cool.
As long as a built-in X2 driver, because ASCOM is not going to work on Linux. That's the of Linux and Mac systems where you're losing ASCOM. That's a big thing.
Okay. I don't, guys, ask your questions now if you have any. I think this thing's really cool. I want one pretty bad. Except with my new telescope, I'm on a spending binge, and my wallet hurts, as I've been saying. But really cool little PCs, and I think they would eliminate a lot of the headaches that we have with wires. I don't know. You step on one wire and you just cost yourself a lot of money. But I will mention in next week, I think we're going to have an open session where we're going to discuss some stuff that we've been chatting about over the last couple weeks. It's just going to be open, so if you guys have any questions about anything or you have any topics you want to cover, just short topics, not anything we're going to dedicate hours to, let us know. I will schedule this session sometime in the next couple days, and it'll invite you to ask questions in that topic. And then in 2 weeks, we have Charles Bracken, who wrote the Deep Sky Primer, and another book that's escaping me right now, but that session is already scheduled, so you can check that out. And
Deep Sky Atlas is for astroimagers.
Deep Sky Atlas.
Because a lot of the maps don't include photographic objects, so his atlas is very very complete. It has sharpless objects. Yeah, so it's very good.
Alex is asking, KM-tronic USB relays, are they 12-volt relays?
They're just relays. The relay itself, the device itself runs on 12 volts.
Tolga, the reason I'm asking is it says USB relays, and I'm want to relay 12-volt power, but is that their name? It happens to be USB relays. They've got 8-volt, 8-port, 4-port, etc. over there on eBay.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit. I guess because I'm an electrician, I guess I take some of the things as granted as. So let me explain a little bit. So the device connects to your PC with USB. It requires 12 volts itself to operate. But then it has 8 relays, which you can switch anything. You can switch 5 volts, because it has an in and an out. And when you,
Tolga, can you see my screen?
Not right. Yes.
Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
that's it. Yes.
Okay. And I just scroll through it here. That's basically it, and $39.
That's a bargain.
Is that the USB version?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Yes, it is.
KM-tronic
That's
USB
the right
relay.
one. Yep, that's the one.
That's what you got. It. So I can have 8 different 12-volt devices running up there, and switch between them, switch among them, turn them on and off.
Correct. Yeah, exactly, control. It's like I said, it's a little bit work involved with this, because it's not like, you have to cut the wire and switch the positive or the negative, and
I'm going to stop screen sharing so I can complete my transaction without everybody getting to watch, okay?
So if anybody's interested who wants to install one of those, I can help them with the wiring diagram.
Yeah, I want to say the power pole version is like $100 and some. The power pole USB relay thing, that's really a bargain.
Oh, I want to do another. Actually, I want to do mention another product that's actually coming up. Ed Thomas from Deep Sky Products. They're actually working on this. It's going to go on top of your. I don't have full details, so you contact him for more details. But they're actually working on a saddle that was going to sit on your saddle, but it's going to have a low-randy saddle on top of it, which is going to have some USB hub and power switching capabilities.
Ooh, that'll be cool.
But it's going to be more user-friendly. Mine is more do-it-yourself kind of a project. Their project, they're trying to make it more like plug-and-play, where you're going to be able to plug 12 volts to it and take your camera and plug it right to it. The way I've done it is more. But like I said, if anybody needs help integrating that, I'll be more than happy to help them.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tolga. I don't see any other questions coming in, so I think, yeah, no new questions. So I think we'll probably wrap it up for the day, but unless you had something else you wanted to mention. But yeah, next week some good stuff coming along, or 2 weeks some good stuff. Next week just kind of an open session.
Okay.
Thank you, Tolga.
Good stuff. That should still be some good stuff.
Yeah. Some of the people were in on the conversation about, and some people heard it about exoplanet, looking for exoplanets in existing amateur data, and I think we're onto something there. And I'd like to kind of get a meeting of the minds together so we can work on that, and maybe do it in a public setting so that we can work something out. Maybe even reach out to some of the people who are kind of on the cusp of getting the software together. But I'm working on that this week, so we will see.
And Dennis Conti, who did the presentation about exoplanets, he actually did an article on the Astronomy magazine this month. It's on the July Astronomy magazine. It's on page 60. It's a pretty good article about exoplanets.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to subscribe to Astronomy magazine now. They keep sending me emails, so. All right. Well, thanks again, Tolga. That was a great presentation. Really good stuff. And guys out there, like I said, 2 weeks Charles Bracken, next week open session, and don't forget to keep submitting your image of the your images for the image of the week. And that's about it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Tolga. I've been looking